my name is Beck, and you Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And I've just finished watching Star Trek Discovery. What the hell was this? Season 3, Episode 6. Who cares what it's called? Who cares what it is? I'll Google it as I'm doing this review. It's freaking awful. It is just freaking oh, I mean, if you like Star Trek, it is absolutely freaking awful. We're gonna be going through the show. I got 8 pages of notes I took while watching this unwatchable Trek, and I think that's just a fair way of describing it. Unwatchable Trek, because that's what it is. So yeah, fine, we're gonna get into review. Can I ask you guys, can you like the chat? Can you like the video? Can you share it? Can you share? That'd be actually really good. Can you share it? That'd be fantastic. Thank you very much on your social media. Can you subscribe? YouTube are being the biggest dicks. I think they've taken about 50 subscribers off me over the past couple of weeks. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's a bit weird. Ever since the election, they've been going, oh! And my subscribers have been doing really, they keep going up and then they go down. It's really weird. Anyway, so subscribe to General, thank you very much. If you subscribe, you can enter my weekly competitions. The prize this week is the Mummy DVD collection that has The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, the 2 good ones with Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz. All you need to do to win it, subscribe to the channel, and in the comments leave the hashtag Imhotep. Also, I have my sign up for my Indiegogo, which I'm launching in a couple of weeks. 2 freaking awesome comics. That I'll be selling. If you can go click the video notes below and go over there and join the mailing list, that'd be so incredibly helpful for me. Thank you very much. It's all, it's basically a numbers game. At this point, it's more people join the mailing list, the better it is. But listen, these are freaking awesome comics. You get a free, where is it? Over here. You get a free one of these art cards, artistic cards, for no, with any purchase if you join the mailing list. Can't say fairer than that. Thank you very much. I am absolutely pathetically grateful. Thank you very much for everybody doing that. Fine. What I'm not pathetically grateful for is watching freaking Discovery. It's awful. Oh my god. So we start with the recap. Always a mistake. It's always a mistake to start with the recap because they just remind you, here's the worst bits of this terrible show. Of the thing that you should absolutely love. Here's the worst bits of it. So it starts off, the first thing you see is that awful ship from Book again, which I just hate it. I hate the design of it, and so we basically get there. They found Starfleet. They're back here. So we're into the show proper, and we're into a complete reboot. Now this is 6 episodes in. We're completely rebooting everything, and we're pretty much now in Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda, just a deeply feminized version of it, right? A deeply feminized version of it. No Kevin Sorbo here. So they get a whole bunch of new stuff. They get new badges. Which I think this was actually a decent idea. New badges with tricorders and personal transporters built into them. The consoles are the new 3D-ish ones, which I freaking hate. Detached nacelles, who cares? I mean, I just this stuff was just who cares? But no new uniforms. What's up with that? Why aren't they wearing Starfleet uniforms? Probably that's just a bridge too far for Starfleet's budget, or by that I mean CBS's budget, which is clearly it's much smaller than it used to be in season 2, and much smaller than it used to be in season 1. It seems to be kind of a similar budget they did for short treks. That's the budget for the show now. They can't stretch the uniforms, and why would they? This show is failing in every way that a popular form of entertainment can be shown to be failing. The only reason that I think it's being made is to save face, so people don't say, "Oh, we did a terrible job," or maybe it's just to troll fans, people who actually like Star Trek. Go, see, we're just gonna make this crap forever, absolutely forever. So these changes are pretty much cosmetic, though. However, it's pretty obviously cosmetic because it's still the Mikey Burnham show, and she's still the bestest ever. And we do see the other crew, the rest of the crew occasionally. But it's the Mikey Burnham show, and she is absolutely the bestest ever. As we find out right at the beginning, the Disco crew, the Discovery crew, is being reorientated into the 32nd century. And I'll tell you, the 32nd century is... the 22nd century, 23rd century, that's kind of good, because that's within viewing distance of where we are now or where we were in the 60s. You know, it's like 400 years, you know, in the future. It's something imaginable. You know, you can look back a few hundred years and go, there's a similar semblance of our world in there. Once you get to the 32nd century, then, you know, all sentient development has to really have stopped, because that's basically what happened. So yeah, they got the tricorders built into the badges. Again, fine idea, but that would seem to be a 24th century idea rather than a 32nd century idea. You're like, it's just a ridiculous amount of time chosen by people who don't understand what time is, or history, or anything. You know, it's really the basic problem with this show. So the crew's been being reorientated for the 32nd century, and of course, who's in charge of it? The bestest ever, Mikey Burnham. It's the stupidest thing. She is the catalyst for every freaking thing. She is an important piston and pin for every freaking thing that happens in the show, and it's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And she's also mentally ill, right? She's completely mentally ill. I'd love to get a psychologist to do a psychological profile of her. That's actually, maybe we should do a crowdfunding campaign for that, because I would like to see the results of that study. So now Discovery and Saru are part of Starfleet, and he's privy to top secret, high level military briefings about but not privy to new uniforms. Can't get new uniforms, but he is privy to top level secrets. So one of the cosmetic changes is one of these new weird, those super weird bugs you could only see under incredible magnification, and those heads that are so non-human. It's incredible. So now they've got a bunch of aliens with those heads. And first you see one of those is a captain of the 32nd century Starfleet. I'm like, okay, that's a new race. But then we see one of them, part of the disco crew as well. I'm like, really? Why are you shoehorning new alien races into the past of Star Trek so uncomfortably? You know, it feels... Yeah, you know what it feels like? It feels like this show is created by people who don't give a shit about Star Trek and don't understand it at all, right? He would have been fine having that new race in the 32nd century, but no, we got to put it everywhere because we're idiots. That's basically it. We are just idiots. And so now, look, the rest of Starfleet find out they have one warp-capable ship. We're going to be talking about how the science works here, which it doesn't really. It's a bit confusing, so the Scavengers are being kept on standby as a rapid responder. There's some problem with the Andorian Orion Syndicate called the Emerald Chain. I like that, by the way. Yeah, you do get these pearls of not awful ideas. I think they're quite kind of cool, scattered throughout now, and it's getting more Star Trek. It's getting closer to what Star Trek is, but still it's got the fundamental, hatred of Western civilization and of men, running all the way through it, and just this insane worldview that comes out of every pore of its existence. So even so, it's but I like the Emerald Chain. Good name for an Orion Syndicate. That's pretty darn cool. And so they have to be ready to deploy instantly because things could heat up in any time in the next 12 hours. So right then we have Book's shitty ship turns up, that shitty wing of a ship. I hate it. I just hate it. Which is the perfect size to be big and scary, but small enough that they can be maneuvered. It's just, oh god, I just hate it. Turns up and it's just got the stupid cat on board. And it's on autopilot, and it's looking for Burnham because she's the bestest ever. So Book has found a third black box recorder from the time the burn happened, which shows that the effects of the burn didn't happen simultaneously across the universe, but they emanated from somewhere. So they got two of them, and so if they get a third one, they can triangulate from that the source of the burn, which seems to be kind of important things. not the important thing, this seems to be a really, really simple piece of detective science, right? Really simple piece of detective science. And so I find it a little bit incredulous that they would need the incredible, the stunning, the brave Mikey Burnham to show up from the 22nd century, 1,000 years in the past, and be stunning and brave, and show the stunning and brave women in the future who aren't quite stunning and brave enough that Mikey Burnham is the bestest ever, and she's going to come up with the most wonderful ideas. Basically I'm not making this up. This is what they wrote and made for a TV show and put it on TV. They did this. It wasn't me. Okay, it's this super important for them to get this black box recorder. But it's not urgent. It's not as urgent as this emerald chain situation going on. As the ship's taken 3 weeks to get from where Book was on autopilot to the Federation. So waiting another day before going on this vital Starfleet mission, and maybe they'll be able to go there with some form of military approval might be a good idea. So it seems like they can wait a day and then go on this mission if it is vital. If really, genuinely, nobody in the future has thought of this really obvious line of investigation, right? Then they can do it. But Mikey is like, what the hell? WTF? Saru's not listening to me when Saru says, we have orders that we have to follow. And the expression on her face, I might use it as a thumb, the expression on her face is like, what? What? Saru's not listening to me? Again, they have this every freaking week. So anyway, with Book's life is in the balance, apparently. I don't know. I mean, it's 3 weeks. I mean, if his life was in the balance 3 weeks ago, probably he's dead now. I don't know. I don't see the urgency that this can't wait 24 hours. But anyway, whatever. Michael Burnham feels like it has to be done now, so that's what it feels like. It's got to be done now. So she, of course, decides to disobey direct orders, and I have to say, completely sane and reasonable orders at that, and still book ship and go and get the black box and save Book, right? So she recruits Giorgio, who we find out reminded in the flash in the recap that she's been having these freak out flashbacks or something in the pub, whatever, who knows? And she's like, "Yeah, come, let's go there." And again, the basic idea of having one rogue character on the ship that's powerful is a good one. It's just these little good ideas that are thrown through it, and which I think they just get through luck rather than judgment. I mean, even a stop clock is right twice a day, right? It doesn't make this show watchable for me because the core of it is awful. So George's just like, let's be stunning and brave, wonderful women in the future, and go on a mission. So we get the titles, and again we get to see more of those stupid bloody robots. Honestly, why don't you just make a new show, right? Why not just make a new? Why do they have to call it Star Trek? Or why not just make a new show with a new lore? If this is so good, right? If this stuff is going, just why do you have to rely on somebody else's intellectual property they've built up over 50 years? I just don't think these ideas are good enough to stand. So, quite frankly, The Mandalorian, which is I think the mirror image of Discovery, in that it's done with care and attention and love for the, equally, I don't think it would stand up on its own without Star Wars, but it gets a lot bloody closer. This just wouldn't. This just wouldn't stand up without the Starfleet name, Star Trek name. Anyway. So they after the titles, they're going to find Book, and I have to ask, how does travel actually work in post-Bird in the 32nd century, right? Because people can still get around, but it takes weeks and months rather than days and hours, right? So they can travel, but at some speed, and there's less ships, where the ships can carry less people. They're smaller, apparently, and they still run on dilithium somehow. So none of these things really make much sense. They could do if they put them together, but they just don't. But the weird thing is, after the titles, they're basically at where Book is, and it took the ship 3 weeks to get to them. Why doesn't it take 3 weeks to get back? Why doesn't everybody always go at this speed? What's going on? Yeah, this is a sort of thing that Starfleet fans would normally think about, and people who like Star Trek normally end up writing it, So and this is the first time we have people who nobody really gives a crap about Star Trek at all writing it, and they don't really like it. They don't care for it. It's not the sort of thing they would want. It's not their cup of tea. So you know they make this crap instead. You know, so they don't think these things. That's gonna be how we get sonar in space and all these other stupid ideas that if you stop and think about it for like more than a second, you go, well, what? That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, they're in transit to get Book, and Giorgio has another flashback freak out, and I guess we're gonna learn more about that as time goes on. But honestly, I kind of like what's her name, the character Michelle Yeoh. I mean, the actor Michelle Yeoh. But the character, they haven't really developed her enough to make me care about her at all. She just walks around being bitchy and nasty and hitting people in the face and insulting. I don't really care. I don't care what's going on with this person. There's no reason to care. And I think, yeah, they just think, well, she's a woman. She's a woman, so you have to care, obviously. What's wrong? What are you, a misogynist? I'm like, no, I just don't give a care about this character. I guess we'll find out more. So anyway, so then we get to meet the villain of the episode, who is an evil green frat boy, who is like, yeah, one of the, basically it's another white man. It's young white man. It's not old white man, it's young white man. So who is this villain? Let me describe him for you. Remember that guy, was it Brett Kavanaugh? You know, he was a judge, a highly respected judge, family man, devout Christian, who no one had anything but praise for him, and a career replete with good deeds, helping everybody who he can all around. So when he was nominated by the Supreme Court, because the people nominating him didn't like the person nominating him, they then did this weird fiction where they painted him to be this character, to be this evil frat boy, multiple rapist, right? I have to tell you, I do find the whole like political situation in the US a bit weird right now, because it's like this guy Kavanaugh, who again seemed to be like a stainless personality, like completely stainless, was called a multiple rapist. Yeah, I just find it hard to think that somebody who would call somebody a multiple rapist and really believe it wouldn't be above stuffing ballots as well. And we're not allowed to think that at all. But okay. But anyway, so that's who this villain is, right? That's who this villain is. He is evil frat boy. That's basically who he is. He has a junkyard planet that plunders the wrecks of these now useless ships. They're useless. I don't know why. We don't know how the science works in this universe. The upshot is they can basically shoot this whole stuff in a very inexpensive former industrial location rather than building a set, which is kind of clearly what they do. Okay? So all this is filmed in like some disused, I don't know, tin mine or something like that. So Frat Boy runs the planet for this woman called Asira, his aunt, because the only people who have agency and are competent in any way in the Star Trek Discovery universe are women, right? The only people, and all feminine men, but no masculine men. They're all Frat Boy essentially. They're like, and the people working on the planet there are all slaves owned by Asira. So there's this Andorian who tried to rise up against them, and he ended up getting his antenna cut off, which again, another good idea. These scatterings of good ideas throughout this. But again, stop clock is right twice a day too. So his punishment is, after having his antenna cut off, is to implant this thing in your back of your neck that makes your head blow up, Running Man style, if you try and get out the security perimeter, right? So Book has one of these implanted by this guy. He's like, I'm sorry, they make me do this, I'm so sorry. And he's a slave. I don't know why they didn't implant that 3 weeks earlier, but okay, who cares? Who cares? None of this. I mean, they could have just missed out that 3-week line. But then again, you're going to have to ask, like, how does he have a capable ship as well? Again, these things they just forgot about it. They just kind of forgot about it, right? So he has the thing planted in the back of the neck, and he sees Burnham down on the planet looking around for him in the black box, and he like hides away. So then the Running Man head blowy up fence thing is demonstrated, and you get to see how evil Frat Boy is, and he makes somebody run through it for, I don't know, something or other, who gives a crap. Meanwhile, on Discovery, we've had New Girl is hanging out with her dead 16-year-old boyfriend who is their love of their life, the biggest love of their life, and Tilly's having trouble dealing with the cat. And oh boy, Tilly. Okay, so was it Michelle Wiseman is the name of the actress? I don't want to be like cruel and mean to her, but she's noticeably heavier than she was in season 2. And look, she's had a baby in between. Totally fine, but they need to write this into the script, or you know what they really need to do? You know what they really do? There's this great movie, well, not great movie. There's a reasonable movie with what was it? Alan Tudyk is the name, the guy from Firefly, where he plays this executive. It's a Seth Rogen movie. Where she knocked up, where she's like like working in the news, and they're going to put her in front of the camera, and they say, listen, we're not going to tell you to lose weight, but if we were going to tell you, we will say 15 pounds would be the right number, right? So I think somebody needs to have that kind of conversation with her, or write it into the script, again. And it's not, I'm not saying she's unattractive, her hair is just gorgeous, her hair is absolutely wonderful, but it's really, really noticeable. Somebody like just I don't know. I think somebody should should have addressed it somewhere. It's just being professional, which as they're not on the on the ship, how would they be on the show? Anyway, so Michael gets Giorgio to distract Frat Boy while she goes to have a clandestine meeting with Book, who says, oh, you must leave me. I can't get out. I have a little thing in the back of my neck, and I'm never going to get through this. It's not possible. I'm never, ever going to escape from it. Leave me alone. Forget about me. Move on with your life. And it's just not convincing at all, because they're going to be out of there in like 10, 15 minutes, right? You just know that's going to happen. In a rare moment of professionalism back on Discovery, after being completely unprofessional and repeatedly swearing in front of her boss, in front of her captain, because this idiot generation writing the show and not watching the show cannot understand simple decorum that comes with the idea of not doing whatever you feel like whenever you feel like it. So Tilly advises Saru in this, like, again, rare moment of professionalism that he has to report Burnham for being a traitorous asshole and going off on an unscheduled, unauthorized mission against orders. But it's not because it's wrong. No. She doesn't say do that because she's done the wrong thing. No, because she might get in trouble as well. The Discovery crew might get in trouble as well. So they said, you got to double him. So Burnham, for some reason, decides to get a girder and destroy the little drone hovering around, floating with them, keeping an eye on making sure then they're genuinely looking for things. Which they genuinely were, and then they get captured, almost instantly, they get captured. They take them back to Book's the shitty little ship, and they find all the dilithium there, which again, who knows what the science means about this. So for some reason, Book takes that as a cue without having any knowledge that this is going on or coordinating to start a revolution and break out. And so he does that. Then Frat Boy sends his 2 guards with him. He's alone with 2 guards and Burnham and Giorgio on the ship to go fight the revolution with the other guards. For some reason, I don't know what. Again, it's just pure stupidity. He's left alone with Giorgio and Burnham on their ship, right? If there's anything hidden there to help them, they were on that. No, none of this occurs to him because he's an idiot. Because that's who he is. He's an evil man. A young member of the male patriarchy. And of course, they easily start beating the crap out of him. But that gets forestalled where Giorgio has one of her freak out flashbacks and passes out, so they can't turn off the head blowing up fence thing. Because in a really strange moment, Burnham loses the upper hand somehow against Frat Boy, even though she goes around hitting people in the face and beating people up, 20 people much bigger than her up every. No, one Frat Boy, too much for him, too much for her. But just in time, Giorgio recovers from a freak out flashback and turns off the Running Man head blowing up thing. the frat boy escapes. I don't think you see him again. I think he's gone for the rest of the episode. So all the prisoners escaping. Mr. Antenna Cut Off Andorian gets shot and injured. And things look bad. Things look bad for Book. They're getting surrounded by the guards. And then they're saved by the stunning and brave Giorgio and Burnham, who come flying in on that crappy ship of books, blowing up, swooping down, and blowing up all the guards. And it just, at this point, it's kind of reminded me of one of those crappy comic books by Max Visaggio or Alex de Campi, where they have the stunning girl power books, which people didn't really like, didn't really buy, and it ended up destroying the industry. And honestly, the implosion of CBS through the malfeasance they demonstrated in Star Trek cannot come soon enough. If we have to see the end of Western civilization to end Star Trek Discovery, I think it's a fair swap. Right at this point, I think it's a fair swap. So the Book ship comes down, blowing up all the guards, and Book then does a super Burnham-esque freak out of joy, like whee, yay, freak out joy, and then something really dawned on me. I really kind of realized something, that this show is created by people who have not experienced and do not understand normative human emotions or relationships. The types of people who live on Twitter and don't have friends, they have alliances. That type of person, right? And so this show is built around their view of humanity, which is a parody of human interaction and emotion, because they never really experienced it and they don't understand it. And I think that's why we're not getting that cohesive feeling of a crew working together, because I just don't think I just don't think that's anything that they've ever had in their lives, of people working together. So anyway, they get away, they get the black box MacGuffin, which looks like a pen for some reason, and on the way home, Burnham and Giorgio have a heart-to-heart about her freak-out flashbacks, and Giorgio doesn't know what they are either. I guess we'll find out, or it'll lead into the Section 31 show. God, is that going to happen? Please don't happen. Oh my God, this is awful. Then back on Discovery, Stamets and Hugo are having a heart-to-heart. She tells them about her dead boyfriend who's still around. And she doesn't know how he's still interacting with her. They should just be married. She shouldn't have his soul with her. And she says, maybe it's just because we were so close. We were so much in love. And I want to scream at the screen, darling, this was a 16-year-old crush. It was nothing. It wasn't real. I mean, it might have grown as something, but it wasn't anything. But of course, Stamets gives New Girls a positive affirmation anyway, because that's what people do on this show. So we have a kind of pointless scene with Burnham and Book, but it acts as a bridge to a stunning and brave scene of Dr. Gay and Stamets in bed being stunning and brave and gay, which is like, we haven't had a scene with them being stunning and brave and gay for a while, and while they're being stunning and brave and gay, they talk about how stunning and brave New Girl is, right, as she reinvents something. Right, who gives a crap? So then we end up with a dressing down for Burnham from the Admiral, with Saru watching. Her crime, by the way, wasn't going rogue and disobeying orders. No, it was that Discovery may have gone into battle without her, and she's the bestest ever. She endangered everybody's lives by not being there and being the bestest ever, to be the bestest ever with them. He also mentions in passing that the source of the burn isn't important. Why? Because he's a stupid white man, isn't he? That's why the source of the burn isn't important. He says the only reason that she's not in the brig is because she saved lives. What? Excuse me. How does that dissolve the law, right? How does that make it? They're like, no trial, nothing, no, nothing. We have no laws here. And what lives did she save? I mean, she killed a lot of people and caused a diplomatic incident, by the looks to me. I mean, rather than saving anyone. So then Burnham woman-splains to the Admiral in her best, breathless, raspy, the burn is so important. It does all that. And suggests how sincere and correct she is. And she said, we need to find out the cause of the burn. Honey child. Okay, fine, great. So then the Admiral leaves, and Saru goes into his bestest patriarchal mode, to give a dressing down to Burnham, but that's because he's the representation of what all these idiot children want their fathers to be, right? First, he super validates Burnham, saying, oh, you were so right in doing it, but you're very naughty-waughty, oh, you're naughty-waughty. Then he's nearly in tears by the time he has to punish her. And what's the punishment? What's the consequence? She's being demoted to being the bestest head of science on Discovery ever. So, like, what's changed for her, right? What, practically speaking, how is her life any freaking different? She's still pretty much in charge, right? No, I don't see it. I don't see how anything changed at all for her. Right after that, she then totally disrespects Saru by calling him by his name and not Captain. I mean, like, what the hell's wrong with this woman? This isn't Star Trek. This isn't even a reflection of the civilian interpersonal etiquette, let alone military etiquette, which Captain, use the freaking, he earned that rank. Of course, nothing is earned in this world, so that's why I get to forget it. But none of this matters. None of it matters because she was calling him Saru just so she can validate his stunning and brave decision to be stunning and brave. And that's Star Trek in 2020, baby. If you fancy a bit of Star Trek, you're not saying you fancy a bit of Garden or Forever or Genesis. You're saying you fancy a bit of crying, a bit of hugging, and maybe washing your vagina for a bit. Because it is just shit. That is Discovery. It is just shit. My name is Sheila Beckett, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please go check out my the sign up for my Indiegogo. Go check it out. Thank you very much. My name is Sheila Beckett. Have yourself a fantastic day.